Hey guys, this is Amit, continuing on my Learn Linux video tutorial series. This is the third video. In the first video, we talked about the installation, and then in the second video, we talked about the file system hierarchy. And now this is the third video. I'm going to talk about the special user account, the root account, and versus the other regular user accounts, and some basic commands that you need to learn. Um, uh, Most likely, it looks like I forgot to mention in my first video that with the this is the console for the VMware player, and so once you click on that, your mouse doesn't work and so forth. You just need to press the Control Alt button in order to get your mouse out of the virtual machine. Okay. So while we are in the console, let me talk about this as well. So there are a couple, there are more than one terminal on the Linux operating systems, and this only works when you are in the console or, in a monitor directly attached to the machine. So this is the first console. So you press Control Alt F2, um, Control Alt F2, and then this is another terminal. Let me type just RR. This is let's say T2, just so as we know. Now I press Control Alt F3. That's another one, T3. Control Alt F4. Oops, I pressed the Control Alt F4. This is T4. Control Alt F5. This is T5. Control Alt F6. That's T6. Control Alt F7 does not work in this case because the Control Alt F7 is the that Control Alt F7 is for the graphical interface. We haven't started that yet. So if I go back, Control Alt F6, T6, F5, F4, F3, F2, and F1. All right, so we are logged in the F1 terminal. Right, so okay, that's now. Let's get back to the I've already shown you how to connect to the the remote Linux server using PuTTY. So we're just connected to the same virtual machine using PuTTY, logged in as root. This is the IP address of the machine. All right. So as you can see, I am logged in as root, right? So I'm logged in as root. So what does that mean is root is like the super user account on the Linux or the Unix systems. So that's the top level account, just like an administrator in the Windows environment. So that's the root account, and root can technically do anything on the system. And there are other regular user accounts that can perform a limited set of tasks. There are ways to delegate, the permissions, like to execute certain commands and whatnot. We'll talk about that later. But, there is the special account root, which has the power to do anything on the system. Okay. So that's that. So I mean, root is like this. Sometimes they call the god of the machine. All right. Okay. So let's talk about some basic commands that you should learn in order to get going with the Linux system. Okay. All right. First of all, let's the clear command. What that does is just clears your screen. So that just clears your screen. All right. Okay, so now let's talk about ls. Okay, so ls is the list command. It lists what files or directories are present in the current working directory. So wherever you are, it shows the files and directories related to that. Okay, so there are multiple options with ls. So ls minus l, this does the long listing. So with just the ls, you were able to see just the files. But now with the ls minus l, or the long listing, you can see this is the permission section. All right, and then it shows the owner, the group owner, the date modified, and then the file name, the file size, and stuff like that. Okay. Um, so that's the ls minus l, ls minus, you can do r, it'll so recursively, if there was a folder, let's say mk, okay, we'll talk about that later. So the ls minus r displays the folders and subfolders recursively. Okay, and then you can combine options, ls minus lr, you can combine multiple options. So the ltr, what this ltr does is, it displays the um, files in, based on the modification time. So, and whenever you want to find out what other options, if you want to read more about the ls, there's ls minus ld, there are lots of different commands, and I cannot talk about all the options at the same time. I mean, there's tons of them, right? Not just for ls, but for other commands. So what you can do is ls minus minus help, this, and then you can scroll back, and then you can see all the options, and it shows you ls options, and then the file if you wanted to just look for some information about the file. So the ls minus a, it shows the all, so it says do not ignore entries starting with dot. What that means is in Unix environments, a file name starting with a dot means that it is a hidden file. So, when you do ls, it just kind of ignores that file, so you don't see the hidden files. So if you pass the minus a option, it will display the hidden files as well. Minus A, not much used, well, I can tell because I haven't used that, so far. That says almost all, or the author, just print the author of each file. Okay. Minus B displays the block size, the size of the files. Minus capital B, ignore backups. Minus C, with minus LT, sort by, and so C time instead of the modification time. You know, um, list entries by column. Minus D, it means the list directory instead of the contents. So if you were to do ls minus d and then the directory name, then it's just going to display the directory instead of displaying the contents inside that directory. All right, we'll not talk about all the options here, because there are a lot of options. So the ls minus I displays the inode number, the index number of each file. In Unix systems, the files are referenced by the inode number, internally. So that's that. You can specify the block size with minus k option. So you can see, block size equals 1k, for example, it says right here. Minus L, like we saw, it's a long listing format. Minus capital L says dereference. I would not worry about that. Minus N, numeric user and group IDs, not much helpful. All right, so let's go. I mean, let's just look at the useful ones. All right, so the minus R can be useful. So reverse order while sorting. So if you were to do ls minus ltr, what that would do is it would order by time, but then it would sort reverse order, so you can see the latest files at the bottom. All right. So minus S, minus R is recursive, that I already talked about. It displays the content inside the folder. The minus S size, print the allocated size of each file in blocks, sort by file size. Minus T, modification time. That's how you use the ls minus ltr. Okay, and then let me see what else. Yeah, and then the other thing is, sometimes important if you are working on a system that uses the SE Linux, which is the security enhanced Linux. So you can use the minus Z option to view the context, or the SE Linux ACL, if you will. All right, so those are the different options for the ls command. And then you can always do, like I said, ls minus minus help. and you can say info ls, right? So you can get more information about the ls command. You can read all this, you know, you can just read, use the up arrow and down arrow key to navigate, and then you can press Q to quit. Also, you can do the look up the manual page, the man, and then the ls command. So, oops, let me install man command. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, you got to install the manual in order to use the man command. Okay. All right, let's say yes. All right, so now you do man ls, and then it's gonna bring up the whole, manual page about the ls command. All right. So that's how you find the help, about the command in the system itself. Okay, and then you press Q to quit. So that's about the ls command. You know what? Let me just show you something real quick. Okay, so ls. The directories are usually in the blue color. This hand color. This is like the symbolic link or the shortcode. It points to something else somewhere else. And this green means that it has the execute permission. So for example, ls minus l would display a little more details, and then it says that the mail points to spool mail, right? So similarly, you can do ls minus r and then the tmp. Let's say that does not have anything. Let me do www. See, so instead of just displaying, it went inside the HTML directory and then displayed all the files and the folders inside the files. The this color means this is an image file. The white color means that's a regular text file. Okay. All right. So that's that. Now let's talk about the mkdir command. So, there's the mkdir command that you use to create the directories. So, for example, if I do ls, let me go to the var www.html, var www.html. So I'm in CD is like the change directory, so you specify the path where you want to go. So I had to go to the var www.html. So this slash, like we talked in the second video, it's the starting point, and then you're going inside var, inside www, inside HTML. All right. So now if you look at do the ls, it has a folder called the example.com, right? So now I want to create mkdir demo directory, right? So now if I do ls minus l, ls minus l, it's gonna, now we have the demo directory, right? So that's how you create a directory, mkdir, using the mkdir command. Similarly, you can, just do the mkdir help. Not much options. Most used options would be -p option. I'll talk about that in a second. And then, and then you can look up the man page. You can do all the good stuff, right? The man, the info, the help. All right. So always keep that in mind. If you wanted to, if you ever wonder what other options you might be able to pass to a command, it's just the best resources to look up the man page or the help. So if you needed the quick, little info, you can use the help. If you want the detailed information, it's good to read the manual page. All right, so here's the demo directory, right? So now let me show another example where I want to create like a, mkdir. I want to create like the test directory, and inside that test directory, I want to create, you know, test1 directory. So you see the error. What it says is it cannot create a directory because there is no such file or directory. So what it is sincerely saying is, I'm in mkdir command. It should be able to create a directory, right? Yes. But the problem here is that it's trying to create the test1 directory, but the test directory does not exist. All right. So what you want to do is, if you wanted to create like a directory inside directory and the parent directory does not exist, you can issue the mkdir minus p and then the test/test1. What this means is minus p means is create the parent directory if it does not exist. So now if we press enter, there you go. We created the directory. Now let's do the ls minus r. So here inside the test directory, we have the test1 directory, right? So that's how the mkdir command works. All right. Okay, let me talk about another command, the touch command, which is like just the touch. So let's say I touch test file 1.txt. What it does is it actually, touch has two purposes. One is, the main idea of the touch command is to update the timestamp. If you wanted to make like, the access time, if you wanted to modify that, then you use the touch command. So now, so if I do ll file 1.ls minus l, so you see the timestamp here is 11:32, right? So now let's do a date. Let's 32:41. Let's wait for a couple seconds. All right. So ls minus l file 1.txt. Now the time is almost 33. I just want to show you how to update. Okay, now the time is 11:33. So I do the ls minus l file 1.txt. It's 11:32, right? So now if I touch file 1.txt, now you see the timestamp now is 11:33. So if you notice, the first time I ran the touch command, it created this file, right? And then the next time I ran the touch command, the same command, it updated the timestamp. So what touch does is it creates an empty file if it does not exist, right? It creates an empty file if it does not exist, and if the file exists, it updates the timestamp for that file. So that's how you use the, that's the, most basic use of the touch command. So like with everything else, you can just do touch help. You can even specify what date you want to, like specify, what stamp you want to update, minus T stamp, and then you can just give the timestamp that you want to apply, and you can also look up the man page if you wanted to. So the most basic uses, mostly used, touch command is mostly used for creating empty files or to update the timestamp. I bet you most of the people just use touch to create the empty files, like just a quick way to create test files or something like that. All right, I thought I was going to cover a little more other commands as well, but it looks like, it's already 18 minutes into the video. So, I'll just going to stop here. I'll come up with the next video and we'll talk more about, like the pwd commands, the cd commands, chmod, and we'll talk about all kinds of commands that are used in daily life for systems administrator, and we'll get you there. All right, I hope this video was useful. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos. If you have any comments, comment it out. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or anything, just send me an email. My email address is amit@amitnepal.com. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video.